Today's the day. We will find out if the RBA are putting rates up or down. We're going to tell you what's the talk on the ground for the buyers. They're pretty nervous. Stay tuned. Good morning, Johnny.
Good morning. Good morning.
It's not quite as exciting tuning in this morning as RBA later, but we're going to give you a little bit of a rundown as to what is going to happen later on this afternoon. 2:30 p.m. is the time to save in the calendar. That's what we're waiting for to find out what the RBA is doing with interest rates today.
I think a lot of people over the country are really looking forward to what's going to happen. There have been quite a few predictions on what's going to happen, and everybody's kind of just waiting and seeing what really is going to happen. And I think that's dictating a lot of what's happening in the market at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, the buyers are pretty nervous, I have to admit.
Yeah, definitely.
For buyers that have got pre-approvals, any change in rates, if they go up, will affect their, borrowing capacity. If they don't spend their pre-approval as it already is and go back for reassessment. So for every 1% change in the cash rate, it changes a buyer's borrowing capacity by 10%. So if you break that down to sort of a 0.25% change, today, if it goes up, that's just under 2.5% on the borrowing capacity. So it doesn't sound like much, but it just eats away at that, borrowing power every time. And that was what we found buyers, getting caught out with when the rates were constantly sort of increasing. They were saying, we're waiting. We feel like the prices will come down as rates go up. It actually did the opposite. And buyers that were pre-approved for $1 million, say at 3%, it went to 4.35%, and then they were able to borrow, sort of 15-20% less.
Yeah, which I think is then now scaring a lot of buyers in the current market as well, which are not sure what's going to happen. And I think which is why the market's at a little bit of a standstill at the moment, where a lot of buyers aren't buying because they're kind of waiting to see what's going to happen next, which I think today will give us a good indication on that, with the rate being at 4.35%, which is the highest it's been in 12 years, which is
12-year
which is
high.
massive. Yeah,
it's crazy. And to put that onto numbers for you, for a first home buyer that has takes out a mortgage for $600,000, a change of 0.25% increase will add about an extra $100 a month to their servicing,
which is huge, especially on a $600,000 loan.
Yeah, if you do the numbers and you go up, I think that we had a good article here in front of us that was breaking it down. If you go up to that sort of $750,000 mark, it's going up to about an extra $112 a month, or a total of $1,928 since rates have increased. So that's the change people have seen over those sort of 14 increases in total. It's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, and I think it's causing a lot of financial stress on a lot of people, which is why at the moment we're kind of seeing the past few rates have been at a hold. I think they don't want to really put any more people under financial stress, which is what they have done with the rate rises. My predictions for this rate rise, Billy, is I think they're going to hold. Is my personal opinion. What do you reckon, Billy?
You're calling a hold. I'm also going to stick with you on that, Johnny. A hold, although the big four banks are predicting a rate cut within the next 6 months. So Commonwealth Bank's got it at a 0.25% drop at the November 2024 meeting. ANZ have got it as a 0.25% drop at the February 25 meeting. NAB's got it at the May 2025 meeting, and Westpac November 2024 meeting. So that's reassuring, that the big four banks have some kind of alignment and an agreement on their opinion that there will be a rate cut. It's just a matter of time. And I think the reason people sit well with that is because they feel like they've got a bit of light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
It's nice to kind of know that they're not hopefully going to get any higher. It's just a case of holding out. And for the people that have come off fixed rates, it's been quite a big increase, a bit of a shock. Hopefully people have taken that time to sort of prepare themselves and then adjust. But for the guys that have been on the variable rates, it's been like weathering the storm, and you're pretty much done the hard work now. If you're still with your mortgage,
yep,
from 2 to 6%, then it looks like it's not hopefully going to get much worse.
Yeah, I think things are looking a lot brighter for the homeowners out there. They've been holding on for the struggle for a while now, and I think we're finally going to see some good news in the rates coming down. It's going to make it a lot better financially for a lot of people out there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So stay tuned. 2:30 p.m. we're expecting to have a bit of an update. Any other sort of buyer hurdles you're seeing at the moment?
Seeing quite a few buyer hurdles at the moment. A lot of people are struggling to get their finance.
Okay.
So I'm finding a lot of people coming through open homes that I'm talking to just don't have that finance over the line yet. I'm not sure if it's taking longer to get their finance, but a lot of first home buyers and that sort of thing, they're struggling to get their finance over the line, which I think is making everything a little bit slower at the moment, especially for those first home buyers.
Yeah, okay. I think if you're a buyer of any caliber trying to navigate the pre-approval process, doing it on your own or doing it directly with a bank can sometimes be tricky if you don't have a really good point of contact. A broker's always a good backup option that can help do the assessment for you, and obviously they have no upfront cost, so there's really good access to information there. So if you need help with a recommendation there, obviously we can put you in touch with someone. Same with a good solicitor or a conveyancer. I'm finding some of the deals we're putting together on the weekends or at the late nights, and there was one last night, I think about 9-10 o'clock in Brookvale.
Yeah.
When you need your solicitor for a small agreement or an amendment with the contract, to be able to get them on the phone after hours or on the mobile is really important. I find a lot of clients at the moment are just happy or expect that their solicitor will work the 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, which is great during the day when we need small bits back and forth. But after hours, that's quite often when the deals are taking place at the moment, particularly on weekends. And if we have no point of contact, it sometimes leaves us in a position where we can't do the exchange, or it drags things out a bit. And for clients that want to make things happen, it can be a bit frustrating.
Yeah, most definitely. I think a lot of people who are in the current market looking to buy and putting offers forward and that sort of thing, they want to just get the property sold, get it in their name kind of thing. And I think if you've got a good solicitor on your side, speed up that process and get it all done for you over the weekend rather than having to wait till that Monday. Another buyer could swoop in over the weekend, and it just creates that uncertainty.
Yeah, and it's pretty easy conversation to have up front, right? If you're engaging a solicitor or a conveyancer, just ask, what's your availability out of hours, and if it can't be them, see if it can be a team member. Even just ask for a mobile number. You'd be amazed how many people rely on the landline and don't think even to ask the question. But it's not like you're going to be hammering on the phone after hours, but it's just as a backup if you get caught out. As Jono said, you don't want to find yourself in a position where you're either leaving yourself open to another offer coming in, or not being able to move on your dream property.
Yeah, most definitely.
I think that's probably the biggest other hurdle I'm seeing. Yep. Finance, the obvious ones, but overall, I think if you're a buyer at the moment, I'd love to see clients trying to get in this side of the interest rate rises, because as the rates come down, we do see a direct correlation between prices starting to go up as people have got more money to spend, and it becomes a little bit more affordable.
Yeah,
cash flow frees up a little bit.
Yeah, most definitely. And even last night we touched on the possibilities of what's going to happen over the next 6 months with property prices. They're predicted to go up between 7 to 9%, and I think that's due to the interest rates. So yes, if you're looking to buy, definitely a good time to start getting in now before those rate cuts come, because the property prices are most likely going to start going up over the next 6 months.
There's the crystal ball of Jonathan. Have a good day, guys.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
See you later.